Hello and welcome to Fintech Focus TV with me, Toby, and delighted to be joined today by Alison from Pennies. Alison, how are you?
Very well, good to meet you again.
Great to see you, thanks for coming in. So congratulations, Pennies is officially the only charity listed on the most influential fintechs of 2019. We've been talking a little bit about the business, and it's a fantastic thing you guys are doing at the moment. So for those of you who haven't had the fortune yet to understand any more about it, tell us a little bit about Pennies.
Yeah, thank you, Toby. And we too were absolutely thrilled to be the first charity in the list, because I think it's so important we see the good that's come out of the financial crisis back in 2008.
Yeah.
And actually, the kind of early stages of Pennies was when we got round a table in 2008 and said, actually, the most popular way to give is dropping coins in a charity box.
Yeah.
Yet we're all living a cashless life. There's so many open bankings creating so many different ways to pay. Why can we not work with an ecosystem of fintech and traditional payment organisations to be a kind of non-disruptor?
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is, from a consumer point of view, wherever they shop or pay for things, whether it's Apple Pay, online, mobile, we just want there to be a little box where they can click, round up a few digital pennies and feel better about that purchase.
Yeah.
So it's a very non-disrupting thing, but in a very disruptive way.
Yeah, yeah. So when you say in a very disruptive way, this is about the future, I guess, of payments as much as anything else as well, and the tech behind it. Tell us a little bit about how that's worked and how it's growing.
Yeah, well, we very much got together with a number of people across payment, point of sale, banks, acquirers, to work out how can we make this slipstream the UK payments infrastructure so that it's incredibly secure and tight, which Pennies is, and yet open it up to whatever's going to happen in the future.
Yeah.
And so that's why we've been able to work with about 50 different technology, payment, fintech organisations to embed the Pennies technology, which means whatever retailer that wants to come on board across whatever channel they're shopping, they should easily be able to say, I'd like to support my charity, switch on Pennies and engage with our consumers. So it's very much been a tech ecosystem, then working with retailers, that's brought this alive.
And it's that innovation that I think is sort of common in a lot of the businesses who've been included in the list. And you guys obviously are standing out for that, that sort of genuine innovation. Tell us a little bit more about some of the other aspects that sort of make the company stand out and you believe has allowed the success and growth. I mean, you talked about stunning growth again this year in terms of what you've achieved and what you're achieving already in 2019. Tell us a little bit about what's contributing to that success.
I think the generosity of the UK public.
There you go.
And what we're doing is genuinely making it easy for people to feel good.
Yeah.
So let me give you an example. The Entertainer Toy Shop, about 168 toy shops across the country. Yeah, you'll know it well, clearly, of young children. Well, they used to have their charity boxes, the physical boxes, and used to collect about £2,000 a year.
Yeah.
And they recognised that they actually needed to change as more and more customers were paying by card.
Yeah.
And so they were one of the first retailers that we said, well, let us digitise that, put it in your shops. They raised £2,000 in the first week.
Is that right?
On average, they now raise £14,500 from Pennies.
Wow.
And if you take the 6 days before Christmas, it was £74,000. And together that means over the last 6 or 7 years, they'll actually have raised, it will be up to £500,000 very shortly for 4 different children's hospitals, as well as supporting lots of very small local charities that are helping kids in communities that are having a tough time. What's there not to love about a story like that?
Yeah, it's an amazing story. So you're the people who you're reaching out to are effectively the retail stores and retail companies, etc., out in the marketplace, and that's where the message is being aimed at.
Yeah, so we work very closely with technology and fintech to unlock the technology, and then we're approaching retailers because they nominate the charity that they want to support.
Got you, yeah.
And therefore it's organisations, another organisation, Domino's was the first that we went online with.
Yeah, yeah.
And they've always been seen as a digital innovator, brought mobile in before you could get a business case for a mobile app.
Yeah.
And so they said, well, actually, we want to be at the forefront of digitising giving.
Yeah.
And they've raised over £4 million from customers rounding up their pennies. And so I think whatever, and we've now got to a point whether you be a football club, buying kit, whether you be buying pizzas in restaurants, in pubs. We've just rolled out to 1,700 Green King pubs who are proud to support Macmillan.
Yeah.
We're even in at Tops Tiles where, for example, a lot of them said, well, I'm not sure contractors as well as consumers.
Yeah.
Every hour their customers' pennies adds up to 2 hours of a Macmillan nurse.
Yeah.
And actually their colleagues and their customers feel better. So for us, we're at the beginning of a very exciting journey.
Yeah.
We're happy to be growing 43%. I think we've been called the fastest growing fintech charity, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
It's not fast enough, but we're trying. But actually, as more and more people, we've never had a major retailer switch off that's ever switched on in 8 years.
Yeah.
And I think for us, as soon as it's enabled, the consumers love it and they just click and join in.
So it's 8 years into the journey now.
So we're 8 years into the journey, just into our 9th year.
Yeah.
We're looking at 2020, 10 years, 100 million donations,
Wow.
and 500 charities. That's our mission.
Yeah.
And actually the momentum we've got is fantastic. We're also looking to work with a lot more channels. So Pennies is currently available across most technology channels. But for example, we're working with Pay UK in the future of account-to-account payments, what that might mean, how Pennies can be embedded at the beginning of that journey.
Yeah.
We're looking at self-checkout and how we can make it a standard feature there. We're looking at international. We've got a big demand for us to go international.
Yeah.
But our view was, let's really get ourselves to a point where we're kind of really driving sustainability and success in the UK.
Yeah.
Because hey, if every UK consumer donated just once a month at 30p,
Yeah.
it's a penny a day,
Yeah.
that'd raise £190 million worth of new money to help communities across the UK.
Which is absolutely extraordinary. We were talking about that statistic earlier on, and it is amazing when you think about, you know, the hard work and hard yards of charities across the UK and how quickly that can have an influence at that sort of level. Yeah. It's stunning, isn't it?
It's really exciting, and at the moment we're very proud to say every 2 seconds
Yeah.
somebody clicks and gives a Pennies donation across our retailers.
Wow.
But just to give perspective, there's 525 transactions every second. So I'm only 1,000th of where we need to be,
Yeah.
which is why the opportunity for growth. Now we're proven, now we're getting a bit recognised in a lot more retailer brands. We're very excited about the future for Pennies and for the UK charity sector and the many people and communities who really benefit.
Yeah. So tell us about that a little bit more. You mentioned there the future. You've just spoken about the opportunity to internationalise at some stage. And I think it's absolutely right. So many companies try and move before they're ready to move in that sort of area. But to focus on doing something really well is clearly, you know, part of the agenda. What else is what's the rest of the plan?
Well, it's true. Well, the rest of the plan, I guess one of the areas where we haven't quite got the technology ready yet, although we are speaking with a number of organisations, is how we can really help local small businesses that might be your local flower shop or your local plumber,
Yeah.
or you know, whatever you want, because I think local communities, it's really hard, and I think getting back to local people, shopping locally, helping charities locally.
Yeah.
So where we're really keen is to unlock a Pennies capability that supports those local businesses.
Yeah.
So we're currently working and discussing with a number of organisations how we can get that fintech integration so that we can really bring this to a local stage as well as where we are regionally and nationally. So that's one of my little kind of really exciting opportunities.
And what sort of businesses would be really good to speak to on there? Because there'll be a lot of people from a lot of companies in that ecosystem who are watching at the moment. Which companies would be really useful for you to be speaking to?
Well, we're speaking with organisations that are really the up-and-coming ISVs like Call Credit, now NMI, we'd love to speak to, because they are an organisation that are working to really package technology for SMEs. We're working and hoping to speak with a large number of the banks that are looking at how they can better serve that SME community.
Yeah.
So if anybody's working and putting together software and technology to help small and medium-sized enterprises, we'd love to talk to you to help you be one of the first to take what's proven in a regional space and bring it to that local community.
Because that SME area is such a big part of the British industry. I mean, it's been thrust to the forefront, I think, over the last probably since the crisis, where it was very much highlighted that the backbone of recovery was through the SME community. Yeah. So I guess again it's looking at that and seeing the vast power of it alongside your big brands as well. There's a lot more that can be played across everywhere else.
There so is, and and it's not easy for retailers at the moment with the economic environment, with where consumer confidence is at. It's pretty challenging. We can see that in what's happening in the sector.
Yeah.
But I think what you're finding is consumers are going back to saying, well, actually, I really care about what these companies are doing. And we talk about the rise of the ethical consumer.
Yeah.
But people are really committed. In fact, some research we did said about 80% of young people are saying they believe businesses have a responsibility to do good things and to be ethical.
Yeah.
And about half of them said, I'm not going to shop at an organisation I don't think is doing the right thing.
Yeah.
And you take that to small business, never mind a big. Typically, they are family-owned, in the community, know the community, working with the community. How better would it be if they could unlock really a huge difference for people and customers and organisations around their local area? Which is why, with the rise of ethical consumer, with the importance of the SME, with a proven proposition in Pennies, we really need help to make this happen soon. Because it's an opportunity waiting to happen, and I'd love to celebrate it in 2020 in our 10 years worth of micro donations.
Well, that's a massive challenge that you've set yourself, and it's one of those crazy goals that people do, but it sounds like you're well on course to get there as well.
Well, we are, but we only make success by working with other people, because we create ecosystems. We know that we can only be good at a certain few things. Therefore, we need to embed our technology in those players that are servicing the retailers, that are giving new payment mechanisms. Hence, we'd love to speak to these organisations and help them do a little bit of good too.
And you're seeing those organisations sort of really embrace this sort of thing as well.
We are. I think it's been really quite interesting. You get the innovators that want to be there first, and that's great. Then you get organisations being dragged because retailers are demanding it. And now we're just at that stage which says, oh, actually, where am I? Should I be doing this? So we've had more people approaching us in the last kind of 12 to 18 months, trying to understand how they can differentiate. Because the lovely thing about Pennies is, yes, we're creating an industry standard, but actually there's the opportunity to differentiate for all the fintechs coming on board and the payment companies, as well as the retailers. So everybody can have a story to tell. And underlying it all, we're helping little digital pennies add up to making a real difference where it really counts.
Definitely. You mentioned as well, and I think you highlighted this at the start, some of the tech challenges and tech concerns around it, security being one of those. What are the sort of real tech opportunities or tech challenges, whichever way you want to view that you've had with the business, and how have you gone about sorting them?
Well, it's really interesting, because one of the biggest challenges or concerns people have had was about their personal data. And clearly GDPR brings it to the fore about saying, you know, we need to be really clear about where our data is. The good news is, but we need to get the word out, is Pennies is GDPR free. So we don't actually hold any consumer donations. Because what consumers want is the ability to give, but guarantee that they're not followed up. So we've worked with technology to make sure we can track from the click right through to where we grant it out and the impact. I just don't know it was Toby that clicked when he was in the entertainer. But what I do know is that 4:15 on a Saturday afternoon in the shop in Guildford, there was a click, and I can track it right back through to Great Ormond Street and the impact they're having.
That's amazing, isn't it? I mean, that's always been one of the concerns, isn't it, I guess, about charities full stop, is how you know where it goes and the good it does for it. And it's great that it's that trackable for it without some of the impact from it as well.
And that was quite hard in the early days, because there was a lot of pressure for us to say, you need to have the customer data, we need to mine it, we need to bring customers from giving a little bit. And I'm saying, no, we need to recognise what consumers love about dropping coins. It's their choice, it's really easy, it's affordable, and actually they're guaranteed that anonymity. And that's why we think, on average, when Pennies is enabled, there's no big marketing campaign, but on average about 20 to 30% of consumers just say, I'm in, I'm in. And when they hear the impact that it has, you know, like I was explaining to you earlier, they suddenly feel their pennies count. And we've used technology for one very simple thing, to say thank you on a receipt. And it's amazing how people don't get thanked when they give pounds, but you give a few pennies and you get a thank you. And then you hear through social media, whoa, that's actually funding 500 teenagers fighting cancer. I'm in, but it's because I want to do it. It's not because I have to do it. So recognising that the consumers are very powerful people and putting the power into their hands to make these little choices is really important.
Well, it's iterative, isn't it? It's that iterative growth of these sort of things that can lead to such a big whole without people feeling that they're, you know, as you've just highlighted, sometimes happens with charities that you feel like you're being pushed a little bit, you know, to do things. But when it's incremental and those sort of things do, and it can have such a powerful collective presence to it, it makes a real difference. I think it's a wonderful incentive and initiative and business. And I'm so pleased it's going so well for you. In terms of how people get in touch with you, and I'm sure there's going to be people here saying, look, what can we do to help out? It sounds great. What's the best way of people getting in touch?
Literally, Pennies, the digital charity box. You'll find us very easily in Google. Just come, reach out, talk to us, and let us come and work with you, because we are on the edge of something really exciting. And if we can get help from some of your other fintech payment organisations, we could be heading towards your top 35 in the next couple of years. So we need to work together to make that happen. And generally, what a great success would that be? The more people that can join together as using fintech for good in a commercial world. And that's what we're all about. Nobody makes money, but we actually get some soul to the great success we're having.
I mean, I think that's such an important part of it, because fintech has its views, and people have views on it in all sorts of different areas, and you hear disruptive used as both a positive and negative term. But what's been happening is everything has been aimed at the consumer, and it's such an easier place now for people to work within that sort of space, and the benefit is very much switching to the the consumer effectively, and to have something here that alongside that is just showing what a powerful difference that fintech can have. I think it's fantastic, and congratulations to you for being listed. I know it was a surprise when it came through, and we'll definitely work to move it all the way through in next year's edition. And I'm thrilled for you, and I'm so pleased it's going so well. So we'll see you again, hopefully, on another episode of Fintech Focus TV very soon. Thank you to everyone who's been watching for tuning in. Please do get in touch with Alison and the charity, and we'll see you again very soon on the show.
Thank you so much,
Thanks
Toby.
a lot. Cheers.
Thank you.
Bye now.